Hi guys, I'm Daddy Freeze, convener of the Free the Sheeple Ministry, convener of the Free the Sheeple movement, and leader of the Free Nation in Christ. I greet you and I bring glad tidings. How are you doing? It's a big question. How are you doing? Today I want to talk about real quick. I'm not going to take too much of your time. I want to talk about being a parent to a Gen Z child. A lot of people understand that Gen Zs are different. And after what I saw with that young lady whose pictures were trending, we're talking about it. I don't know if you're able to see the pictures eventually. The Molly girl, double click the screen if you're watching on TikTok, double click the screen. And the other girl, Ada, we're having a conversation about the other girl too. What's her name? Esther Raphael. And one thing I just had to say is raising a Gen Z is something nobody is used to, nobody is ready for. Nobody is ready for the way the Gen Zs think, the way they act. A friend of mine told me she gave a job to a Gen Z who one day came and said that the job is stressing her too much, that she doesn't have any work life balance. When we're growing up, any work where you see in our work, I know a guy who used to go and dig graves with his father. To be my friend growing up, Kende. We used to call him Biris, okay? Okay, they bury. Coming. Sorry, Gary. So, growing up during our time was a very tasking thing. Our parents are nothing like my parents, for instance. My dad will not believe that you are going to school to study psychology. Why? As far as my father was concerned, school no pass, medicine, law, engineering, accounting, pharmacy. No other, maybe architecture. But you see, Gen Zs, they are different too. The topic is being a parent to a Gen Z. If you're watching on TikTok, double click the screen, double click the screen, double click the screen. You see, being a parent to a Gen Z is extremely difficult. Now I understand what my mom was going through. We used to listen to rap music. And my parents could not understand the big bag bow, do do bow, bag bow of rap. They couldn't get it. And now the music, the sound has changed, has evolved, if I may use that word. And that is one of many things that have evolved. I'll give you an example. Do you realize that 80 to 90% of what your parents taught you is wrong? 80 to 90% of what your parents taught you. Someone said, Daddy Freeze, what will psychology do for you in Nigeria? You would be amazed. You see, the problem is our parents taught us how to get jobs. That's how we're raised. You go to school, get out of school, get a job. Our parents did not teach us to be the job, create an industry, blaze a trail. It's always get a good job. Come out of school, get a good job. I'll tell you something here. Do you realize that eating 3 square meals is bad for your health? Do you know that eating 3 square meals is bad for your health? You're supposed to have 5 smaller meals instead of 3 big meals. That's one problem. Another problem our parents had is they stuffed us with carbohydrates. Growing up, if we eat rice at night, that rice no dey get meat. They stuffed us with carbohydrates. Our parents will teach us that eat the food first before you eat the meat. You know that's the worst thing you can do for your body. You're actually supposed to eat salad first, then your fats and your proteins, then your eba. Someone says, have you heard of intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting has its own issues. Oh, I've heard people, I've sat down with dietitians who have told that intermittent fasting is dangerous. Just the way keto diet is dangerous. Growing up, do you remember? They say, if you eat your meat before your food, you are greedy. Children were not allowed to eat eggs. Don't talk while eating is actually good. That one is good because you can choke on your food. But things like don't eat eggs. Children are not supposed to eat eggs. That it makes them greedy. Or children will eat the head of the chicken and the leg of the chicken. Papa na him go chop the drumstick. Me, I like drumstick. And if they share chicken for my house, I go collect drumstick or thigh. But there are other parts of the chicken that are nutritious. It might not be as delicious, but it's nutritious. So it's like eating rice like Christmas on Sunday. Growing up as a child, I remember in my house, that's why I said I would never have uncles and aunties living in my house. It traumatized me as a child. We always had my father, my mother, 4 of us, then maybe grandma and 2 or 3 uncles. So they used to fry 2 eggs for 8 people. As in they used to fry 2 eggs for 8 people. They will now put tomato and onion and pepper. They will now cut it. Even then, the egg will be small like this. Then they will give you one big loaf of agege bread. You can't whack the whole agege bread finish. To come go school, go come begin hard you. They will give you bread and egg. Very little egg, plenty bread, plenty tomato. Then you now drink tea with sugar on top of it. I'm just giving you one of the aspects. Now, when it came to careers, I know very rich psychologists and I know some poor doctors. The fact that you studied medicine is not a guarantee that you'll be rich. It's not a guarantee that you'll be happy. And the fact that I studied sociology in the university and I don't consider myself poor. Whatever course you study, you determine your future. I'll give you an example of K auto detailing. K auto detailing studied engineering in school, but he doesn't work as an engineer. He details people's cars. That industry is a new industry in Nigeria. And those that started it are making a lot of money. Let me give you an example. I, from time to time, like doing wheels off detailing. Wheels off detailing means they will jack your car up, put your car on post, remove the wheels, and wash under the car without the wheels. The minimum K will take from you for that is 250K. So just imagine he does 3 of that a month. Try and call him and book him. You will see how busy he is. So we are talking of someone who created an industry for himself, earns well, is happy doing what he's doing, he loves his business. But you see, that kind of mentality is not the mentality our parents gave us. The mentality our parents gave us was go and get a job. Someone said that's a celebrity car wash. Baba, if you count 100 million to buy car, or 50 million, or 150 million, or 200 million, now Kalu go they detail your car. As I'm telling you, I was begging him to come and see me tomorrow. He said he cannot come, he's busy. Kalu is busy every day of the week. My problem is a lot of people do not open their minds to possibilities and realities. I'm just giving you one of the examples. And there are so many young boys that work with Kalu, for instance, or work in so many other industries. There are some industries that you don't even know. There's a whole gaming industry. There's real estate. These are thriving industries that you don't need maximum education for. If you study psychology and you have a mentor in real estate, all you need is one good deal. All you need is to be able to sell a house in Banana Island. You are made. You sell a house of 1 billion. There is no way you will not walk away with 10 million. No way you will not walk away with 10 million if you can sell a 1 billion naira house. There's no way you will not walk away with 10 million. If you can structure your life properly, you'll be. But you see, the problem is you get out of university and then you want to structure your life. Let me give you my example. I've said this story many times before. When I was in school, I knew I was never going to need the school. I knew it from the bottom of my heart, and I've never needed it, except the knowledge I gained is helping me in Free the Sheeple movement and the Free Nation Church, because I studied sociology and that's the study of the society. But you see, I've never used it to get a job before. I had worked in Cool FM for 7 years before they asked me come. They now started doing some stuff that they needed people's CVs. They now came to meet me and said they need my school cert. I said, which school cert? Please, they should leave my front. I've been working here for 7 years. Now you want to have not school cert, a university degree. I said, okay, I don't have degree. I'm delivering on my job. My show is one of the highest rated shows. What do you need the university degree for? I told them I don't have, because I did not know where to go and start looking for it for them. They looked at me, I looked at them. I said, okay, if you are going to sack me, sack me. I worked there for another 15 years after. With no university degree, I did not give it to them. You know? But what am I trying to say in essence is, when I was 19 years old, I started working on the radio. So by the time I was done with school, my life already had a direction. I had met people on the radio. When I came to do audition in Cool FM and Rhythm FM, I slept in Two-Face house. Two-Face, Blackface, and Face in Festac with one guy called Shayo and More Money. If you start, that was the crew back then. I slept in their house. Why? Because I'd met these people through my 5 years on the radio. Maintain, Olu Maintain and Tolu Maintain actually belonged to a Genie I, thank you so much. Always sends me super chats and super stickers on YouTube. Just send $20. Thank you so much. So I knew Plantation Boys, I knew Maintain, I knew Remedies, I knew LD, and what was that screw again? Tribesmen. So by the time I came to Cool FM, I'd worked, I understood what radio was. Maybe not on Cool FM's level, but I understood what it was to run a radio show. So it was easier for me to blend. The problem is, many of you don't realize that from when you are in secondary school, you have to start picking, you have to start nibbling at your career. I'm using that. You have to start nibbling at your career from secondary school. You have to start gravitating towards your career. Just so you don't make the mistake our parents made. You've seen Wilfred Asuko, he comes to my life. He's one of my best customers. Wilfred is a pilot, a trained pilot. He has his pilot's license. Today, he's a project manager. Has nothing to do with what he read in school. The other gentleman that was on my live a few days ago, Chuma worked in oil and gas. Today, he has moved from oil and gas to real estate. What am I trying to say in essence is, guiding a Gen Z career-wise is very delicate. From when they are young, you have to start getting into their heads and start guiding them towards what they could do. Number two, a Gen Z believes the parents are supposed to be their friends. You are not your children's friends. You are your children's parent. If you're watching on TikTok, double click the screen, double click the screen, double click the screen. You are your children's parent. You can be cool with your kids, but you've got to let them know that you're the one that calls the shots. You're the one that sets the boundaries. You're the one that sets the boundaries. There has to be discipline. You've got to be able to understand that you will offend your children. As a parent, you are going to offend your children. You should be more concerned about having well-rounded children than children who love you. As a parent, you have to raise your children to become individuals. If not, they will rely on you for the rest of your life. You'll be old, and the money you're supposed to use to be touring the world, you'll be using to feed children. Then you have to understand their world. You have to understand the world the children live in, and you have to understand that it is different from yours. Your children are going to have gay friends. Whether you like it or not. You should be glad that they are not the ones that are saying that you get friend. You can't begin to fight them. Abletech Lifestyle. Like the video, guys, and stay fit. Able Tick Lifestyle just sent me $50. Today I'm so happy, man. Today is just a sweet day. Double click the screen if you're watching on TikTok. Follow my number 1 and my number 2 gifter on TikTok. Oh yeah, follow my number 1 and number 2 gifter. I'm looking for my first money gun on TikTok today. Nobody don't pop any money gun. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I've been too busy. Pop those money guns. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Pop, pop, pop those money guns. So what was I saying? You need to understand their world. Their world is different from your world. When we were growing up, we were raised to be superstitious and religious. It is dangerous to make your children superstitious and religious. Because religious people lack critical thinking. Teach them instead to be critical. Teach them to ask questions. Teach them to be respectful, but teach them to question everything. Question politely. Question respectfully. But question. Don't raise your children to be frightened. Raise them to question everything. You'll be amazed. I'll give you an example. One of the kids went to ask one of their aunties, why do we use olive oil to draw sign of the cross on our foreheads? And the auntie said, it is good. Then the child asked, said, okay, what brand of olive oil? The aunt said, Goya. The child said, why Goya? The auntie said, it is advisable to use Goya. The child didn't get it. You cannot tell a child that it is advisable. You can't, if it's not the Bible says, or Goya is cheaper, or Goya is more effective in driving out demons. You cannot just tell the child that it's advisable to. Children are smart. You send them to school to be smart, and then you want to use your own hand and dumb them down. And then you have to be able to relate with them regarding their SE, and the next letter is X, followed by uality. Someone say I don't use Goya fried egg before Nasin. Goya is actually low quality, in my humble opinion, is not proper olive oil. It's mass-produced olive oil. And olive oil should not be used to fry eggs because olive oil is not meant to be fried. It's a different kind of oil. You guys should register with Taste Buds in Taste Buds School. She'll explain all that to you. So what am I saying at the end of the day? You need to understand. Let me break this to you. If your child is 18 and their virginity is intact, thank God. If it is not, they are not devils. They are not devils. They are not going to go to hellfire. We need to understand that the society you are raising your children in is way less inhibited than the society you were raised in. Children talk more about fakafiki. They are more interested in it. They are more willing to discuss it. And if they cannot discuss it with you, they will discuss it with their friends. And you are in trouble. I met a pastor that was preaching once. Give your life to Christ. Give your life to Christ. Blah 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 blah. Of course, I agree that you should be a good Christian. But then I went to my friend's house, and somewhere in Dolphin Estate back then. And that my friend was very wild, as in if they take babe, the whole house go dey shake. Biggie, 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 go here. Now so my guy take one, but everybody knows say babe they with him. Eventually, like an hour, 30 minutes later, they came out. Guess who was with him? Pastor's daughter. Same pastor that was preaching about holiness and telling other people's children to wait till marriage. And I asked myself, I said, if you cannot make your own children wait till after marriage, how do you expect to tell other people's children to wait after marriage? I advise my children to maintain their virginity. But let me ask you, how many of you were virgins at 20? I have about 400 people watching me on Instagram, about 130 on YouTube, about 150 on TikTok, and about 132 on Facebook. If at 20 you were a virgin, comment. Double click the screen if you're watching on TikTok. Double click the screen. I've got my first money gone today. Yay. Lizzie Clark 56. Thank you so much, my darling. She's my number one gifter. Follow 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 my number one gifter. Eunice said she was at 27. That's one person. Prince Alex, you dey lie. Or mommy, you dey lie. Ada. Ada is still a virgin now, as we are speaking. Someone said I was keeping myself to 24. $21. Talk. I'm catching the numbers. Now let's change it. How many of you waited till you got married? Let's forget age. How many of you waited to get married before you lost it? How many of you waited to get married before you lost it? How many of you waited till they got married? Someone said one of the many reasons I married early. Noah Rachel said she waited. Folaiton said not me. Ogogo, if not for the fact that I trust you, I would have said I don't believe. Someone said if pastors' children are stubborn, should it stop their father from preaching the truth? I have a problem with a truth that you cannot live. I have a problem with an unrealistic truth. You live in a society where if your children go to public universities and they are virgins by 23, you should be grateful to God. You should be grateful to God. And by that 23, if they are not virgins, it doesn't mean they are going to hellfire. It doesn't mean they're going. You see, we've got to stop scaring one another with the same things our parents used to scare us. If you're watching on TikTok, double click the screen, or double click the screen, double click the screen, double click the screen. Out of all of you that waited till you got married, how many of you are still in your marriages? And how many of you did not cheat in your marriages? The fact that you waited 30 years to marry does not mean you will not cheat in that marriage. Now, I'm shaking a table now, a major table now. The fact that you waited till 30 to marry does not mean that inside that marriage you will not. So we need to be able to be realistic in our expectations. What you could not do, why are you expecting your children to do it? I don't mean don't preach to them. Oh, preach to them. Tell them the consequences. Tell them that it can even affect their spiritual life. Tell them it can affect their academics. Tell them they can get sicknesses and diseases from it. But when you are done telling them, lower your expectations. I'm tired. So, the next thing you need to do is have open conversations with your children about these things. Let them be able to confide in you if they are active in their fakafiki life. Explain to them the dangers of leaked videos. Someone said they won't tell you. Try to be close enough to them so they can share with you. Strive to be close to your children. And more than anything else, be careful not to be a hypocrite. Your children are much smarter than you think they are. And they have no respect for hypocrisy. Gen Z, they are not going to respect you if you're a hypocrite. Big Pen says teenagers nowadays are fearless. They think they are invincible, not scared of any consequences. Someone said, be close enough to your children. They will tell you. Try to be close to them. Explain the dangers to them. Explain how it would affect their future. It's a better angle coming from, this thing will mess up your future, than if you do it, you'll go to hell. Someone that does not believe there is hell You are using hell to try. It's like somebody using Jesus to threaten me. Let them realize the kind of illnesses they can contract. Let me tell you what I tell my own kids. I say, look, if you get pregnant, you are going to stay in the household and you are going to do housework because I'm not going to raise your kid. You will stay in the house and raise your kid. You will drop out of school. I remember when you are in my house, you can't go to party, you can't go anywhere. You just be in my house, just be walking until you are ready, old enough to be able to take care of your child. But by that alone, they put fear for their body because they don't want to be stuck at home when their mates are moving around freely. Somebody said it's better they learn these things from you than learn from outside. You are 100% correct. Don't be a hypocrite. You can raise godly children that will still make mistakes. You are not closer to God than David was, and he still made mistakes. Samson was given his strength directly by God, and he still made mistake. Solomon was the wisest man on earth, and he still made, and by mistake, I mean woman mistake. So this is where I want to draw the curtain tonight. It is your responsibility as a parent to guide your children. And you can guide them without threatening them. You can love them without putting unnecessary or undue pressure on them. Let them be free to talk to you. Don't go around with the inhibitions your parents had. They are dangerous. They are dangerous. I remember there was a time in my life my father thought I was a V. I was laughing at him. Don't let your children laugh at you behind your back. Try to bridge the gap between you and them with regards to their fakafiki life, with regards to their careers, with regards to their choices, with regards to people in their lives. Lizzie Clark, thank you so much. You just popped another money gun. An outspoken child is not a bad child. Being outspoken should be encouraged. Be able to draw the line between being outspoken and being rude. But don't you ever make your children timid because you want them to respect you. It will not work. These are my thoughts that I wanted to share with you today. I'm coming back at midnight. I have a guest, a social security expert. He's going to be talking to us all about security and all that, and how you can make money abroad through security. So guys, don't miss it at midnight. It's going to be off the hook. So take care, guys. God bless you. I love you all, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at midnight. Take care.